All right, I want to just read you one thing. This is from my 11 writing tips. Has anyone read my 11 writing tips? Paulo Coelho has retweeted Elephant and been sort of covered on Elephant. We're big fans. All right. So in the 11 writing tips, if you go down to number 5, this is not from me. My favorite has always been the Gary Provost lesson on varying sentence length to create rhythm and flow. So just listen to me. You don't even have to open up the blog. Just listen to what I say. This sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's like a stuck record. The ear demands some variety. Now listen. I vary the sentence length and I create music. Music. The writing sings. It has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt, a harmony. I use short sentences and I use sentences of medium length. And sometimes, when I am certain the reader is rested, I will engage him or her with a sentence of considerable length, a sentence that burns with energy and builds with all the impetus of a crescendo. The roll of the drums, the crash of the cymbals, sounds that say, listen to this, it is important. So that's a lesson from Gary Provost. I love that. Did that make any sense? So that just gets you into the rhythm of writing. Writing can be music. But we're going to start as Twain, as Hemingway, as many others have. We're going to start with writing as communication, writing as something genuine. There's a real downside to starting with writing as music. What is the downside to starting with writing as music? Can anyone think of that? We want to get there, and it's wonderful to experiment with it at any time. But what's the downside of starting with it? Meg. That's funny. I grew up with a friend named Meg Ryan. And there's the famous Meg Ryan. All right. You fall in love with the sound of your own voice. You try too hard to get it right the first time. So I'm going to go with Meg. You fall in love with the music. It's almost like Narcissus staring at himself in the mirror, right? So on the other hand, Emily or Kenny, anyone who's around, Jen, Molly, if you can put Kerouac's writing rules in the sidebar, there's 2 blogs on Elephant. Everyone should read those. There's a wonderful part in it that says, if you get lost in trying to express yourself, if you get lost in the music, Kenny, that was quick, you get points. So I'm not sure which one it is. But if you get lost in the music and the melody, you can simply come back. Yeah, here it is. It's in the Essentials of Spontaneous Prose. So, wow. We just redesigned our website, and it's huge. Maybe it's not Essentials. Belief technique. No fear or shame in the dignity of your experience, language, and knowledge. I love that. Write in recollection and amazement for yourself. I love it. No time for poetry, but exactly what is. That's kind of getting to what I'm talking about. Struggle to sketch the flow that already exists intact in mind. Here it is. Got it. Don't think of words when you stop, but to see picture better. So first of all, especially from an Elephant point of view, folks, we want to start with writing as something genuine. We don't want to be the equivalent of a top 40 hit where everyone loves the melody, Despacito, all respect, but maybe there's no content in it. There's nothing that's genuine or helpful in it, right? Does that make sense? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about why do we write before trying to write beautifully. Why do we write? Can anyone say why you're interested in writing? So there's 3 reasons why I think Elephant is a fan of teaching writing. and then we'll get to how to teach it. Number one, Meg's on fire. We write to figure out what we think, to communicate an idea or share an experience, Amanda. I love, Amanda, the second word, communicate. Often we forget when we get caught up in the melody, we get caught up in the sound of our own voice, we forget that it's about communication. At the same time, when we advertise, quote unquote, Elephant Academy, we talk a lot about finding your voice. So finding your voice is important and fundamental, but it's more similar to what Kerouac said in that, I don't know if you opened up how to write, but some of those things I had read, that there's, from a Buddhist point of view, there's another one I just put in there, write for the world to read and see your exact pictures of it. There's a notion that you're communicating, and at the same time that you're being. So you're being and you're communicating. You're like a flower opening up. So you're here to help the world, as someone said. You're here to inspire, as someone said. You're here to communicate, as someone said. But you're also here to be and to get to know yourself and to uncover who you are and to figure out who you are and to be genuine. So writing is magic. Writing is Harry Potter style magic. Writing is Hogwarts style magic. Writing is can change water into wine. Writing can change lead into gold. Writing can change confusion. I don't understand my experience. I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm in love. I'm vulnerable. I'm confused. I'm miserable. I'm depressed. I'm excited. I'm brave. I'm timid. All at once. And I can write about that. And in writing about that, a catharsis happens. In writing about that, I process it. So there's zero attempt in the beginning of writing to be eloquent. All you are trying to do is express what is already there. Really read that How to Write by Kerouac. All you are trying to do is express. The flower doesn't try to be a bee. The flower doesn't try to be a tree. The flower doesn't try to be a hiker walking past. A flower doesn't try to be a dog, even when it gets peed on. A flower just opens up, and then it wilts, and it kind of dies, and then it comes back. A flower is just a flower. So your experience is your experience. So you just write your experience. So why do we write? We write to be genuine. And then step two, we write to communicate. So if I say to Jesslyn, you know, if all I do is say yop to you, you may not get much out of that. I have to express it, right? I have to communicate. I have to look you in the eyes or visualize looking you in the eyes. And I have to connect with you as I would a friend in a cafe or a friend in a bar or a friend on a walk or when I write, and this is pretty powerful little lesson. When I write, I visualize a dear friend who I love and I respect. But I also visualize that they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I often use the idea. So I'm not sharing in jokes. I'm not sharing little lingo. I'm explaining things. I'm not, because they're stupid. I respect them. I love them. And I'm not trying to sell them on anything. I'm not trying to trick them. All of this is really powerful in marketing. All of this is really powerful if you're trying to use this to empower your job, your future job, your present job, to get more clients, to get more students, whatever it is you're trying to do. And we're going to get much more into that. If you can learn to communicate genuinely, then you can sell people on whatever you're doing based on being genuine, not on suckering them, not on marketing language, not on A/B testing, just on being genuine. And then you can use A/B testing or whatever tools to kind of gild that. But the genuineness is powerful. And in this world, can any of you, can we compete with New York Times? Can we compete with Coca-Cola? Can we compete with all the sound and the fury of Instagram, right? All the captions, all the vanity, all the photos of cats, all the photos of all the selfies, right? None of us can communicate with that, compete with any of that. But what we can do is not try to compete. and do something different. Be genuine. Take a deep breath. All of you could do that right now. This isn't a new agey thing. Breath is just being alive. And remember that space is okay. And that just feeling and listening and writing what we know, writing who we are is a great place to start. Then connecting it with the person. And then, so as I wrote in my notes, and I'm looking at my notes right here. Why do we write? We write to understand our experience. We write to communicate. And we write to be of benefit, to help the world. And we write to be of benefit to ourselves back. Writing can help any job that we do. So that's what we call right livelihood. It's a holistic, wholesome Venn diagram, I guess. Helping the world. Your intention is not to glorify yourself. Your intention is not to trick others. Your intention is to be a benefit. Your intention is to share the truth, not necessarily just our truth. Our truth can be an opinion. An opinion could be that, you know, immigrants are evil people. Or our opinion could be that immigrants are wonderful people. Neither opinion is that important because it's a generalization. So one of the things we're going to go after is generalizations. A less kind word for generalizations is a stereotype or a prejudice, prejudging. A lot of times, a lot of you probably think judging is bad. Judging gets a bad rap. Judging is not bad. Judging is seeing something and describing it. Judging, justice. Prejudging is the problem. When you go into a situation with fixed experience, that's prejudging, prejudice. We judge when we decide to eat an apple versus potato chips. We judge when we decide to eat an organic apple versus a rotting Monsanto apple. Okay, back to the point. So, my name is Waylon Lewis. I've been doing elephants for almost 16 years. We started off as a print magazine. We went to be a magazine. Online. We were a print magazine. We went online. All right, sorry. I'm looking at my notes. So let's talk about commitment. Commitment. This program will only be as good, and it'll be amazing, quite honestly, because we put so much love into it and because you put so much love into it, and all that love bounces around, and you're in a big love. What are those, like bouncy castles? You're in a big bouncy castle of love and learning. But it's also overwhelming. You have balls of, maybe I shouldn't go too far with that analogy, but you have balls of learning bouncing around everywhere in your little bouncy castle. And it can be overwhelming. And I have a quote, I'm working on my second book about that a little overwhelming can be a positive thing. Bouncy castle. All right. So you need to be 2 feet in. Sorry, I'm struggling with my notes and wanting to connect with you directly. So you got to be 2 feet in. You got to just jump in, dive in, and you'll get a lot out of it. I don't know what else to say about that. If you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, then it won't be a great experience. If you're 2 feet out, you won't even have an experience. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions around that? A lot of times people almost never have the problem of not getting enough learning. But if you are, say, hey, we need more. Hey, I'm bored. Hey, this isn't what I thought it would be. And we will in a mindful way, we will foie gras you. We will stuff more learning at you, whatever you're looking for. As a vegan, that was an awful analogy. All right. So get pumped. This is super exciting. Throw a ton of love into this. Really show up. Watch the videos. Watch the videos. Feel free to complain. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask your TA stuff. Feel free to ask your peers stuff. Feel free to ask me stuff. Be annoying. Go crazy. A lot of us say we don't have time, but who here wastes time online, on Reddit, on Netflix, whatever. Some of that time is downtime. God bless. You shouldn't guilt trip yourself. But a lot of us even the very busy of us, and I'm sure many of you are very busy, you have families, you have school, you have whatever, take time to really grab your life by the collar and learn something over the next couple months. This is a precious opportunity. There's nobody in this room. I'm just in a B&B. It's kind of frumpy, but it's beautiful. I'm looking at a huge river right outside. I could show you real quick. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my view. All right. So we have a tradition at the Academy of doing a challenge. Is anyone up for, this is an optional challenge. Are there any men in the room besides Waylon? What are you guys thinking about? All right. So we have a challenge. So the challenge, there's 3 choices. It's like in Price is Right. There's door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, and I'll be your Vanna White. So the elephant is about the mindful life. That's been our slogan since 2002. Oh, in this room. I thought you meant in this room. I was so confused. Usually we have a couple men. Something like 85% of elephant readers are women, which is crazy. And so, yeah, we're kind of backward in that way, but it's probably a good backwardness. But yeah, if there's any men, speak up. All right. But from the Buddhist point of view, we all have feminine principle. We have masculine principle in different degrees. So all of you will have some masculine principle, I'm sure. Yeah, Emily says yes. Maybe they're being shy, or maybe they're not in the group yet. Or maybe they're in a time zone where they couldn't show up. All right, I got to focus. Challenge. So Elephant is founded on the mindful life, being a benefit to this world. So we have 3 challenges. The first one is, and if you accept one of these challenges, you have to do it. You can fail all you want, but you have to do it for 3 months. All right. So the first challenge is to not multitask on your phone. I don't have my phone with me because I'm being a good boy, but let's say this is my phone. You're not allowed to walk and be on your phone. You're not allowed to certainly drive and be on your phone. You're not allowed to bike and be on your phone. You're not allowed to talk to people while you're on your phone. Oh, yeah. That's number 1. Don't accept easily, because you have to do it for 3 months. You can fail. The only acceptable way to be on your phone is to say, hey, give me a minute. I need a little phone break. I got to catch up on texts. And then you catch up on your texts. When you're walking, you pull over. Like in New York, you'll see a lot of folks do this. They'll kind of like pull themselves over to the side, out of the way, by a tree, by the side of a building, and they'll do their text. They'll phone call. I think it's fine if you're walking by yourself to be on the phone and talk, and you're just going for a walk and talk. So this is not an excuse to be too uptight. This is not an excuse to like go crazy. It's really just about mindfulness, about doing one thing at a time. This is number 1. Don't commit yet. Please don't commit yet, because you can only do one of the 3 challenges unless you want to do all 3 or 2 of them. All right. Number 2. Yeah, and if you already do this, fantastic. So then you can choose one of the others. Number 2. No straws. No plastic straws. No compostable straws. Paper straws are usually bleached, so no paper straws. The only acceptable straw would be a permanent straw, like glass or stainless steel, right? Even those have a big economic or environmental impact, but they're kind of permanent. Usually they're made in China, blah, 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 and they're shipped all the way across the world. So that's number 2. No straws, or if you must have a straw, get a straw, bring it with you. I wish Lindsay was on here. She has like a foldy straw that goes into a little thing. I was just hanging out with Plastic Free Mermaid and her friend Final Straw. Final Straw is a little straw that opens up. Glass Dharma, can someone put that link in the side, is beautiful if you want a beautiful glass straw. Personally, as I guess the only man in the room, I don't get this whole straw thing. I don't need straws to drink, but I guess if you have lipstick or whatever, they're super helpful. Maybe one of you can explain the straw thing to me one day. All right. Yeah, no straws or permanent straws, basically. Hollow noodles can work too. I love that. Yeah, but why do you need them for smoothies? Why didn't you just drink the smoothie? I don't get it. So the number one thing with the no straw challenge is you have to actually say before you order the drink or before you get your water served, no straws, because many restaurants and bars do what? Anyone? Auto straw. They bring the straw. Yeah, that's true. Andrea, I like you. You're my kind of person. And it's not organic or fair trade cocaine. Many will just bring them out even if you don't want them. And many will bring them out if you ask for them to not have them. So you have to like just say it a couple times. How do you say it? Should everyone here be a jerk and be aggressive and be Portlandia-ish and uptight about it? Anyone? Be nice. Be humble. Make fun of yourself. Be the kind of person in a restaurant or a bar that you would want to wait tables on. Yeah, you can be nice. You can also just make fun of yourself. Exactly, Aaron. I love the whole, hey, I know I'm just one of those weird plastic hating people. No straws, please. No straw. But really emphasize it. Please, no straw. Good God. I'm doing a challenge. I'm going to be prejudged by people. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3 is going to be hard for some of you guys and easy for some of you. No to-go cups, like literally 0 to-go cups. By to-go cup, I'm referring to the sort of Starbucks to-go cup. It's bleached, it's lined with plastic, you're pouring hot liquid in plastic, and then you're drinking out of it. That's not good for you. That's probably carcinogenic. It's not healthy. Plastic is not a thing. Plastic is petroleum with tons of chemicals added to it to make it, let's focus, folks. Plastic is a thing with tons of chemicals added to make it stretchy, like in your yoga pants, or to make it be able to coat the interior of a bleached paper cup. Bleach kills life like fish and bacteria, healthy bacteria downstream. So no to-go cups, no plastic lids. That's number 3. You can do a compostable to-go cup, but it's still not very good. It's a lot better though. You can do a waxed paper cup. Those are great. The old-fashioned wax paper stuff, like, you know those little expandable ketchup holders, the wax paper ones? Those are great. You can throw those in your backyard. They'll compost. Those are fantastic. Old Americana wasn't so bad for the environment. New American ways are pretty bad for our environment. So you can go to Hawaii. You can go to Galapagos. You can go any paradise in the world, and they're just covered in plastic. The fish are eating the plastic. You're eating the fish. All of us have plastic in us now, microbeads. A lot of you know this stuff, which is great. So all 3 challenges, let me talk about all 3. Yeah, styrofoam, Aaron, you can throw styrofoam into challenge number 3. Styrofoam is insane. Yeah, and you know those brown paper to-go things for food? You know what I'm talking about? They're like brown paper. They look like they're waxed. They're in Whole Foods and stuff. Do you mean height? Like Breeze, Brownie Point, height. That wax is plastic. Those are not recyclable. Plastic basically is not recyclable. To take plastic, you have to melt it down. It's super toxic. You do it over in China. You're carting it back and forth generally. It's not a great thing. So a lot of people say, hey, you can recycle plastic. Hey, forget about it. It's no problem. What do you want? That's not true. Plastic is pretty much Mordor in a convenient, helpful place in your life, right? It's like Mordor to go. You don't want Mordor in your life, right? Okay, so those are the 3 challenges. Who wants number 1? Number 1 was no multitasking on your phone. Just choose one of them. You can do all 3. Just choose one of them and really commit to it. Who wants number 2, which is no straws unless they're permanent or ideally just none. Number 3, would be no to-go cups, and ideally no to-go containers that are plastic. Choose one, choose two, choose three. Number one is powerful. It'll change your mind. It'll change your attention to your breath. To your life. Number two and number three will make you start thinking about your effect on the world. Number two and number three will make you start becoming one of those weird environmentalist people. And the key is to make fun of yourself so that you remain tolerable. And then bring some joy to it. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun to turn off the lights. It's fun to drink out of glass instead of plastic. It's fun to bike around. It's fun to walk around. It's not fun to take a Lyft or a Uber or whatever everywhere you go. You can walk. You can get free exercise. You can bike. Obviously, sometimes you need to drive. Sometimes you blah, blah, blah. But bring your own coffee container. Bring your own to-go-ware if you're insane, right? Any questions about any of those three? Anyone? Ooh, Heidi, your daughter is cool. Anyone have questions on those? Sukriti says, number one did change me in my life. It's 1 year now, and it continued beyond the challenge. Reclaim your life from the phone. Reclaim your attention to your life from the phone. How many times do we see something beautiful and our first thought is, Instagram, let's share it. Let's show it off. Let's show off what I'm doing. So much of my life is so boring. I have to take a photo of this river. So you're literally, there's a cartoon by Bizarro or someone, people know Bizarro, where they have Jesus coming back and he's just surrounded by people on their phones. And he says, to hell with it. He can't even talk to anybody. So maybe to go with number one, take a moment to appreciate the red flower, the redness of the red, a little bit of orange and some specks of black and white and yellow. Look at that flower. Look at the texture. Touch it. Then take a photo of it and share it if you want to. It's nice to share. Nothing's evil about that. We're not pejorative here. We're not trying to set up new enemies, right? But take a moment to enjoy your life before you work for Instagram or Facebook or Zuckerberg, right? You're all working for Zuckerberg. We all are, if all you're doing is Instagramming the best parts of your life. That's a good quote, Emily. Naomi, Naomi, I think I know you. You write for Elephant, right? Yeah, just be an inspiration and you can have conversations like this. I think you just talk about it. People will notice. Here's a powerful exercise, and I'm wasting too much time. Here's a powerful exercise. Next time you're in a restaurant with a friend or a cafe with a friend and they go to the bathroom, don't get your phone out. Just sit there and look around and enjoy yourself and feel the awkwardness. That's what we call the 1990s. It's good stuff. Your brain needs space. You need space to be able to look at things and relax. People watching, just relax. Yeah, exactly. Airports, being on an airplane is a powerful chance to look out the window and be like an angel or a god or a bird in the sky and look out instead of doing your work. Now, again, some people have their different routines. I'm not prejudging. I'm just saying, creating some space. When you get to a stoplight, don't get your phone out. When your friend goes to the bathroom, don't get your phone out. Okay. So next up on the agenda, because I know Emily's sweating right now. I'm like literally on line 2. Okay. So writing is kind of what makes human beings special versus animals, right? I'm a vegan. I'm an animal lover. Back off. Animals are amazing. But there's something very unique about human beings, and our ability to communicate is a huge part of that. Whales communicate, dolphins communicate, chickens communicate, dogs communicate, and a lot of them have pretty sophisticated languages, like prairie dogs. Don't know if you knew about that. What's your favorite animal that communicates in a pretty remarkable way? Bees communicate. It's cool stuff. Ducks communicate. Forgs communicate. Bats communicate. Elephants mourn their dead. Elephants communicate across 300 yards or whatever. Trees communicate. Life communicates. Yeah, whales. I already said whales. Bees. Plants. Mushrooms. Aspen groves. All right. So that's cool stuff. But human beings, it can explicitly communicate on a level that has enabled us to build bed and breakfasts on rivers. No other animal has built a bed and breakfast exactly. I don't think. They probably have. Bacteria, pigeons. Pigeons don't find another lover if their mate passes. You just kind of made my day and ruined it at the same time. So communication. So let's pull it back. No more animals. So we're good. We're good. We're good. All right. So communication. It's amazing stuff. It can empower your career. It can change the world for the better. Name a book that has changed the whole world. And I don't mean it's inspired the whole world. It actually changed the world. I'll say Rachel Carson. I'll say Michael Pollan, Omnivore's Dilemma. Farmers markets and farms were all going out of business. Then they increased by 10,000%. Remember to capitalize your words, folks. Let's write properly. Origin of a species. Our bodies ourselves. Yes, Silent Spring. That was my first thought. Uncle Tom's Cabin. Okay, so books can change the world. Writing can change the world. Did anyone read about Ada Calhoun in Audible on the front page of New York Times? She's one of our mentors. She was on Megyn Kelly this week. She was on the front page of the New York Times. She's not in this session. Sorry, you'll have to be a TA to get her next time. But you can watch her videos from past sessions. She just signed nearly $1 million. Kenny, better yet, link her videos in there. Don't link out an elephant, unless you have to. But you were quick on that, which I like. So Ada Calhoun. Some writers are not sharing through words. They're writing. They're sharing through audiobooks because podcasts are so huge. All right, there's Ada. We love her. She's got an amazing voice. I've got her book right here, one of them. Oh, it's all backward, but you can read backwards, I'm sure. Okay. Back to my notes. So writing is fundamental. Writing will empower your career. Writing will help the world. Writing will help you get to know yourself. I kind of already said all that stuff. Am I doing okay? This is sort of hard. I have a lot of notes. I'm alone in a room, and there's a lot of you. So I'm trying to do my best. It sort of feels like talking on a phone where the reception isn't so good. Thank you, guys. Okay. Okay. Your answer is going to irritate me because I'm over caffeinated, but what's the best way to become a better writer? Everyone always says the same thing. I like write. I like that, Libby. Most people say read. The best way to become a better writer is to write. It is to read. It is to read good writing. It is to read bad writing because you'll notice what's not working. But the number one best thing in my mind after the writing and the reading is editing. We're going to do a whole session on that. Okay, guys, we're good. I love the feedback. It's getting spicy. We're all bouncing around in the walk. All right, so the best way that gets overlooked is editing. If you can learn how to edit, you can learn how to shape the music. It's like shaping your voice as it comes out of your throat. It's like being able to self-edit, being able to edit others, being able to write and in the present moment shape your words as you go. Editing can kind of get a bad rap because crazy people think editing is censorship. It's not. Editing is like doing calligraphy and shaping it as you go. Beautiful calligraphy, right? Or like conducting. It's a beautiful act. I get super romantic about editing. It's like nerd Tinder. It's like sculpting clay. Okay, great. Love that. I'm stealing what you said, Aaron. Editing. And we're going to get to that. So, but back to reading, book recommendations. I recommend you start with some reading that you've never done. I recommend you start with Elements of Style. Actually read it. Writers all over the world buy Elements of Style, put it by their desk, and then look at it and never read it. Has anyone ever done that? Guilty. You buy Elements of Style, you put it by your desk, and you hope it just osmosises upon you, but you never read it. Actually read it. It's amazing. And can I just say, from our plastic challenge, number 2 and number 3, all books are covered in plastic now. So buy a used book, used book, used book. Buy a used book. Jen Nelson, correct. My book is not made with a plastic cover. Major thank yous for noticing that. So Strunk and White. It's a beautiful little book, and it's so small. How small is Strunk and White? Small. If you're not going to read it, read some of the links we put in the sidebar, right? Yeah, exactly, Libby. What Libby said. Read what Libby said. The White of Strunk and White is E.B. White, who wrote Charlotte's Web. He's an awesome, beautiful guy. Okay, I don't know Trumpeter of the Swan, but apparently I have to read that. So I recommend you read that. I recommend you read Kerouac because he's crazy. I recommend you read Hemingway because he's uptight. I recommend you read, I love Maya Angelou. I recommend you read a whole breadth of stuff. Go nuts. Cancel your Netflix. Read some stuff. Read. For these couple months, read the New York Times. Read Ada Calhoun. Can I just read you one? I'm going to read, let's focus. Buy used books. Don't order Amazon. Never buy from Amazon. All right, can I just read one random paragraph from Ada Calhoun? Do we have time? I'm going to do it. These days, I don't enjoy crushes as much as I used to. That's not how I want to be with other people. Selfish, confusing, greedy. I want to be better than that. In her story, Floating Bridge, Alice Munro writes about times when anything you look at is just a peg to blah, blah. I'll skip that because it's not her writing. These other men, did I ever really see them? Or were they just projection screens onto which I could shadow puppet my own desires? Besides, trying to have fun, but not too much fun, can be exhausting, like playing the game Operation, where you can extract the prize only if you don't hit any of the sensors on all sides. Maybe more than Operation, it's like Russian roulette, because for every 5 times an extramarital flirtation makes you feel extra alive, there's one crush that kills you. What did her writing do that was profound? It was just simple. It just communicated. They said about Joe DiMaggio, the New York Yankee, he was great at fielding. He made everything look simple and easy because he was so graceful. Just straightforward. Straightforward doesn't mean boring. Straightforward can be poetic, it can be nuts, but it can just be direct, unfiltered. There's nothing between you and the reader. It was accessible. One of my favorite unsexy words. Okay, back to the notes. I'm going to pull this out and be done by noon. People are going to be amazed. I'm literally a third of the way into my notes. The other thing I really recommend is Ben Bradley's autobiography about being a journalist. If you read Ben Bradley's book, it's called A Good Life. Thank you, Kenny. Kenny is on it. It's called A Good Life. Ben Bradley, buy it used. Don't buy it on Amazon. Amazon is not particularly great for publishers or for writers or for the environment. Okay, back to my notes. Okay, is anyone here intimidated about writing on Elephant, publicly, in a group, in the academy? Is anyone intimidated? Is anyone kind of intimidated to admit that you're intimidated? Is anyone intimidated just generally? All right. Well, Anna, we have to get you over that because if you're blogging, you're a writer. If you're a human being, you're a writer. Being a writer just means you're putting words down on paper or you're recording words or you're communicating. I want to read your writing. Okay. So if you're intimidated about it, that's fine. Because just like, how did anyone feel hesitation about joining the academy? And then if you did, how did you get past that? Or why did you get past that hesitation? It's okay to feel intimidation. It's okay to feel nervousness. It's okay to feel fear. You know why? Because you don't have a choice. Welcome to being human. So you feel that. What's not okay is two things about fear or hesitation. One is machoing yourself past it. That's how bullies are made. Bullies are terrified people. Don't be a bully of yourself. Don't be a bully of others. So don't push past the fear. The other thing that's not okay to do with fear or hesitation or nervousness or intimidation is to give into it and not go for it. So to just give into it and not live. You know that beautiful quote by Anais Nin? I know Kenny is already going to copy and paste it. Something like, your life is only as big as you are brave, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Something about opening up a flower or some darn thing. All right. That's my quote. Something about opening up a flower or some darn thing. Okay. So if you're intimidated about writing, welcome to being human. You're human. You're going to feel fear or hesitation. You just got to go for it. In Buddhism, we say, have confidence to go beyond hesitation. So you don't have to have the confidence to never feel hesitation, to never feel fear, to be macho, and you also shouldn't give into it. In the great words of Anais Nin, I just thought of it off the top of my head. I kind of have things memorized. I have one of those beautiful minds. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Anais Nin. Just thought of that. Boom. Isn't that amazing? It's impressive. Pretty impressive. No one's laughing. So someone typed it in the in the comments, so I didn't get it. Okay, good. Okay. It's a tough crowd. So when you feel vulnerability, stay open, go for it. Stay open, go for it. Whether you're asking someone out, whether you're going to write, whether you're going to do the academy, stay open, go for it. Don't give into it and don't push past it. Stay open, go for it. Does that make sense? Stay open and go for it. Okay. So what's the big downside about writing about your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your vulnerability and your depression and your anger and your childhood issues and your anxiety and your trauma and your PTSD and your insecurity? What's the downside of that? What's the danger around that? Oh my God, Libby, who is that quote by? Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. In summer camp, we had a song that said, do it, do it, do it anyway, do it, do it, do it anyway, do it, do it. And I don't remember the rest. Do it anyway. That was just the chorus. So you do it anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So what's the danger of getting all up into yourself and writing about it? Leah said, sorry, it's scrolling on me. Leah said, emotionalism, not helpful to others. You forget your intention to be a benefit. 2, self-referential, exposure, vulnerability, exposure, feeling naked. That's the risk. What's the downside to it? People can judge you. It's all about the self. Marissa, yeah. You actually have to face your truth, even if it's uncomfortable. That's a powerful one, Sabrina. I love that. Sabrina gets a point. Sabrina, Angela, Heidi, add photos. Storyline drags you down. Face fear, Brene Brown. Yeah, if you don't know who said something about courage, Brene Brown, Pema Chodron, Gandhi, Einstein, P.F. Chang. Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani. Can't say his name. All right. Yeah, I think Libby Scanlon said that. Wonderful writer. Okay, so the danger is emotionalism, that you get caught up in taking yourself too seriously. You're taking your problems too seriously. You're treating yourself like a project. You're becoming self-obsessive. You're becoming self-important. You're becoming one of those people on Instagram who share photos of themselves 100% of the time. Does anyone know someone on Instagram who shares photos of themselves 100% of the time? And then their captions are sort of like, they're half great and they're half kind of selfish and self-involved and sort of gross, like, but half great. They're like, you know, people make fun of me for my bikini in the last photo. So they're bringing up great issues about feminism, about making friends with their body, but it's all about them, me. So the fourth challenge is to unfollow anyone who shares photos of themselves more than 95% of the time. Okay. That should be an easy challenge. That's number 4. I'm serious about that one. Stop rewarding it. Stop rewarding it. Stop being a fan. Start being a citizen and a human being. All right, so emotionalism can be a downside. So the key is, like William Blake said, can we put that William Blake quote in here? Kiss the joy as it flies. Kiss the sadness as it flies. Kiss the misery as it flies. Kiss your experience as you write it. Does that make sense? So you touch into your experience, you share it, but you don't become this big self-important emotionalism ball of me. Does that make sense? Or it's like you can get attached, but then let go. The exact quote, I can just remember it off the top of my head now. It says, he who binds himself to a joy doth the winged life destroy. He who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. It's one of my mom's favorite authors. So don't be about self-absorption, but you can be cathartic and write about your experience without being self-absorbed. I love what Jennifer just said. You expressed it. Instagram, but it's really just, Instagram just is encouraging what we already do, which is to become narcissistic, self-absorbed, instant gratification, false gratification. All right, back to notes. Also, here's a question. Does emotionalism connect with the reader? Does it help the reader? Does it help the world? Does emotionalism, getting caught up in your self-absorption, your self-importance, drowning in your own emotions, you want to be authentic, vulnerable, you want to express them, you don't want to stuff them down. So this is another instance of what the Buddha called the middle path, the middle way. Don't suppress them, but don't glorify them. Don't suppress them, but don't what? What? Everyone is in the back of the barn just smoking cigarettes right now. Don't glorify them. Don't reinforce them. Don't inflate them. Exactly. So don't suppress them. That's equally important. They're beautiful. Turn that flower outward. Okay, back to notes. So apparently I have until 12:15 according to Emily. Thank you. Can most people stay? It's really good if you can stay. Always know that there may be 15 extra minutes. It just means you get more stuff. And if you're ever feeling like we're off track, feel free to yell at me anytime. So be personal when you write. When you write, be personal. What does being personal mean? It doesn't mean be about me, but it is about me. Being personal just means directly connect. When I talk to Breeze Etta, I want to know who she is. I don't necessarily know if Breeze is a woman's name, but I'm going to assume it is. But I would say, who are you? Where do you live? What do you care about? You know, what were your parents like? I don't know. I want to get to know one another. as human beings. I want to ask lots of questions. And hopefully she can ask questions back and we can get to know each other. That's what being personal is. So be personal when you write. It doesn't mean it's a diary, but it does mean be direct. Visualize your audience. Okay, quickly, does anyone ever have an experience of writer's block? Do you want to get past writer's block? You don't know what to write, you can't write, you're trying to finish a story, it's not going anywhere. Does anyone like writer's block? Does anyone respect writer's block? Does anyone make friends with writer's block? So what I teach with writer's block, because I never get it, and the reason I never get it is I never force myself to write if I encounter writer's block. Forcing yourself through writer's block is very bad side of patriarchal of you to do. So don't do it. When you feel writer's block, it means something isn't genuine, something isn't landing, something isn't working. So don't try to force it. Listen to the writer's block. Listen, don't push. Make love to the writer's block. Kiss the writer's block. It has to be consensual. Don't force your way through the writer's block. Don't beat up the writer's block. Don't hate the writer's block. Don't try to get away from the writer's block. Get to know the writer's block. Listen to it. Talk with it. Become friends with the writer's block. Okay, I'm sick of saying writer's block now. But you can watch that video. It's in the sidebar. We're going to get into more depth. Amanda, I love that question. We're going to get into more depth, but forcing yourself doesn't work. That doesn't mean you stop writing. That means you might try something else. That might mean you just go by the river here and you just write what you see. You might need to loosen up. You might need to practice. But writer's block is not your enemy. Make friends with writer's block. Make snacks. That's what most people do with writer's blocks. They just eat. They clean the house. They go out for drinks. They live an entire life. They live 80 years. Procrastinate. It's a word I just made up. Okay. So here's the notes. Different processes of different writers. Ritual, every morning, 1,000 words a day, etc. Versus only when inspiration strikes. How do I write, Waylon? There is no right way. Well, they just answered it for me. What is the right way to write? I'm at a beautiful little old-fashioned desk here. What's the right way to write? Can anyone tell me? Chantel was brave. Chantel was the only person to go for it. Okay, here. Oh, she's on delay. Karen, Aaron, Jesslyn. Yes, exactly. So there's no one way to write. That said, yeah, okay, we're good. It's like there's a delay and then there's too many responses. So there isn't a right way. I love that all of you seem to have agreed with that. A lot of times people think you have to do morning pages. You have to write every day. You have to write when the inspiration strikes. You have to write randomly. There's no real right way. That said, and I want to disagree with what we just said, you got to write a lot. You got to write consistently. You got to read a lot. You got to edit a lot. You got to practice. So just as there's no right way to do a craft, right? Like knitting, or I guess I'm whittling in my mind right now, or cooking. Do you need to whittle or knit or cook regularly? Do you need to practice your craft regularly? Yes. So avoiding writing, and your craft can include reading. Your craft can include meditation. Your craft can include singing, talking, any kind of communication. And eat your food. Always eat your food. I don't know what that's about, but I agree. So please read my 11 writing tips. They're fantastic. Part of the reason my 11 writing tips are so good and so brilliant are because I think 9 of them are stolen from other writers. So please read that. I just put it in the sidebar. Have all of you opened it up? It's not for me. It's not for Elephant. It's for you. And if you disagree with anything, comment. That's the beauty about the internets. Okay, so you guys in Elephant Academy, I know it's late. Are we all focused? Everyone's focused? Give me a little, yes, I'm focused kind of thing. Okay, if you want to write, you can write on Elephant Journal. Anyone can at any time. But you guys have a privilege, which is you'll be kind of VIPs for our editors. And you're going to get, I think, 2 edits, not just 1, 2 rounds of edits. So you can publish on a major site. You will be accepted. You will be worked with by the editors. They might criticize you. They might ask for more, but write. Write on Elephant, write on Elephant, write on Elephant. Does anyone have a question about how to write on Elephant, like what the link is? Does anyone here know how to write on Elephant? Naomi? Anyone? How do you do it? Bookmarking is recommended. /submit. Meg's all over it. Boom. You know what's even easier? There's an email with the link, correct. So 2 edits means that you can send something in and you'll get 2 rounds of edits from an editor. So they won't just edit it once and then reject it if it's not good on the second time. They'll be willing to edit it twice, go 2 rounds. So the easiest way to remember how to write on Elephant is that there's a link that says write. There's a write button on the top of every page of elephantjournal.com. Does anyone know where the top of the page of elephantjournal.com is located? Anyone? At the top. Karen nailed it. I like it. So if you forget, you just click the top. So we have a new cool option, which is called Elephant Now. Elephant Now is basically like Twitter or Facebook status. It allows you to put something on Elephant in 1 second. So it's like Reddit too. So Elephant Now, check it out. Put up a poem, put up a diary entry, put up a thought, put up you can put your Instagram link there. It'll become a video. Put something up, boom, boom, boom. Write something every day. Write. Read. Get yourself fired up and inspired and use these months to change your life. We're going to get into writing. We're going to get into editing. We're going to get into ethics, journalism ethics. We're going to get into mindfulness, but we're mainly going to get into you and into how to empower and invest in yourself and change your life. I'm sick of saying all those words because I've been spouting this off in marketing, but we mean it. This is really about you and changing your life, your livelihood, having fun. Remember to have fun. Is everyone up for remembering to have fun here? A lot of us want to complain about everything. That's a human tendency. Complaining is welcome. Complain all you want, but remember to have fun, okay? Connect with each other. Have fun. Friend each other on Facebook. Don't be creepy, but all connect. I don't know what Velcro means in this context, but I like it. Okay, you can also write with your small groups and your peers. Your small groups, which I don't think you guys are in yet, right? No one's in your small groups yet? Those are super fun. Those are amazing. And I pop into all the small groups. I kind of like walk through like the principal with my shirt tucked in and like my phone in a holder on my belt. And I walk through the rooms and I kind of look at them for a while and I say hi. And then I leave, and then you all like are relieved when I leave because it's not awkward anymore. Small groups are amazing. Yeah, I probably have a walkie-talkie. Got a bit of a gut, you know, typical principal stuff. All right, folks. Marcy, that's a great question. Ask your TA, ask your small groups. Word counts, 400, 200, 100, 800. Doesn't matter. You're communicating. If you're including a video, it can be super short. Typical article might be 400 to 800 words. All right, folks, that's the first meeting. I don't know if Emily wants to pop in here and do any laundry or TCB, take care of business. But I think that's it. I hope you had fun. I hope you laughed at my dad jokes, and then regretted laughing at them. Oh, introduced you to the bow. Yeah, any prompts from you guys? So let's end with a bow, and then Emily can wrap anything up if you're so inspired. So let's do the bow. We didn't do a bow ever? No. It's like that scene in Austin Powers. No. All right. The bow. Take the best posture of your day. This is going to be the double best bow you've ever done because we forgot to bow. Take a good posture, a Wonder Woman posture, a Superman posture, a Ant-Man posture, Black Panther posture. Eyes are open, breathe, connect with the earth below, the solidity, the gentle, nurturing solidity of the earth, making everything possible. Think about all the earth going down for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Rock. Connect with the sky above, endless for millions of miles. The sky extends infinitely for at least 5 or 10 miles. Connect your posture to the earth, connect your posture to the sky above, relax your shoulders. If you've been hunched over on your laptop, really sit up straight. Sit up awkwardly straight, but then breathe and relax. And with a sense of friendliness to one another here and respect for one another here, anticipation for what's to come, and a reminder, most importantly, of your own mission in your life to be of benefit, to make a living doing what you care about, and being of benefit. Give it away. When you bow, you're connecting heaven to earth in the middle with your heart, with the human respect shoulders. So you're connecting heaven and earth. That's our role in society. That's our role in writing. That's our role in life. So please do it physically, and you can type it in. And if you like, yeah, type it in with parentheses. Thank you so much. I hope this was really good. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you would rank this meeting below a 5, please message us right away and tell us what you're looking for and how you feel, because we want this to be on fire. So without shaming anyone, if you're not loving it, reach out now. We want this to be amazing and hard and fun and fulfilling. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. See you guys.